Hi guys, Mr. New Mobile here. New iPhone 13, 2021, release date, price, news. Please subscribe followed by the bell. You can also keep up on Facebook, Twitter by clicking the links in the description. And new iPhone, probably the iPhone 13, but maybe the iPhone 12s is coming in 2021, even if you're only just wrapping your head around the iPhone 12 family, and we've already seen a variety of juicy leaks and rumors land. Apple's 2021 handsets are likely to launch toward the end of the year, but we're hearing news from a variety of sources about what to expect on the next-gen iPhone from Apple. What's the overall word right now? We've heard from all different types of sources not to expect any humongous upgrades, as rumors point to the company focusing on refining the design, improving the internals, and perhaps even bringing in far more powerful cameras. All of this is speculation at the moment, and may be subject to change when Apple is ready to release its next handset. Below you'll find everything we know so far about the next iPhone, including our best guess at an iPhone 13 release date, and a selection of things we want to see Apple introduce in its 2021 handset. The kickoff iPhone 13, 2021. Some fresh iPhone 13 weeks is actually a lot to be excited about, despite the fact that it's technically is here. So new design lens, potentially no ports without 120Hz smaller notch and screen touch ID. Particularly the iPhone by fixation 5 sessions with improving its and seeing it happen in real time. I can describe it by I love the iPhone. So much so very happy to be starting again monitoring all the changes coming to the next iPhone, and a person we are company phone rubble we're about to launch into next week. Which is MagSafe compatibility is launching later in February, and we'll have listings up here in just a few days. Let's get into the iPhone 13 stuff first. A report from back at the car detailing the iPhone 13 lineup. So overall will be very similar for devices, same form factor as they will be slightly thicker 26mm, which is practically unnoticeable. Old cases will likely still work with the new iPhones except for the fact that the iPhone 12 Pro, the 6.1-inch model, will be adopting the size of the lens from the iPhone 12 Pro Max, so those will be sharing a lens now, which is a considerable camera bump. I've been loving my 12 Pro Max. By the way, and most notable in this report back to Kara saying the iPhone 13s are getting a new look when it comes to the lens. They're likening it to the 2021 iPad Pro, which by the way, recently, CADs have leaked, and it's changing just a little bit of speaker ports. Also, the camera lens. So essentially it's going to be a flat bump on the camera once it will be raised by 9mm and eliminating the protrusions that individual camera bumps for a flat solid surface, likely to be broken by microphone hole flash lens, otherwise unbroken. They're saying sapphire glass here, and how it will sit on top of the already existing glass in the back the iPhone. We don't know. So we put a metal border around in our renderings. I think it looks fantastic, very clean. Johnny Ive's vision of a flat slab of glass further being fulfilled here. If Apple were to keep very slight protrusions as they did on the 2020 iPad Pro, that's what it would look like. I personally don't like that. I could see them going to just completely flat, and whether or not it'll have a completely dark coating is up for grabs, but I'm willing to bet that that's what Apple has been saving the technology for. Those reported by Manchukuo a couple years back. Maybe on the 13 Pros. Apple is darkening the entire slab to minimize the look of the lenses themselves, to give it a very monolithic look. It's saying so. Using these indications, we very well might have a first look at the iPhone 13 Pro design, and if you have any doubts, actually pattern we've noticed as Apple leaves hints in their CAD files. The original iPhone 11 Pro can file that leaked happen like a place to the right, as if it were to have a lighter sensor, and one particular version of the iPhone 12 mini CAD had a completely flat surface and a flat slab of glass on top. No individual cutouts. I'm pretty sure Apple is testing this design on the 12 Pro. The more blocky shape, more blocky lens makes sense if Apple uses this dark coating on the rear. It's only natural that of course, they want to use it on the front too, as was reported earlier by Jeff, who at this point we're not entirely sure whether or not the 13 and 13. Many will also get this new lens. Look at the fact that they're all getting a lighter sensor now, so the entire iPhone 13 lineup will have a lighter sensor is becoming a bigger priority for Apple to imply that the lens would look the same, or to match the lineup. The Marker Mina Bloomberg published a massive report on Apple's intentions for 2021 detailed the iPhone, so let's get into that. One lot of juicy details here, possibly, which makes sense with the lens, but then goes on to say that Touch ID is still actively being tested for the 2021 launch. So it's very possible that iPhone 13s may be restricted to the Pro models will have in-screen Touch ID, and that makes more sense than ever. Of course, the pandemic life with masks also elaborates that Face ID isn't going anywhere. If Apple releases in-screen Touch ID, Face ID is also staying, so potentially even more security, or even pick one of the other. German goes on saying, Apple is still talking about removing the port on one or potentially couple iPhone models. This year, Enlico reported earlier at least one of the 13 models 13 Pro Max will come without support, so a fully wireless future may be coming early. And with MagSafe as a step in that direction potentially, to be improved with this next year's iPhone, but I mean eventually it's going to happen. Apple might just want to bite the bullet, make it happen sooner. And a quick sidetrack to the future reports that Apple is still actively testing foldable iPhones have several different types. One, in particular, is an iPhone 12 Pro Max sized version 6.7 inches folded down the middle. So compact like the Galaxy C Flip, and this one has a visible hinge very similar to current foldable, so nothing too crazy about it. He says that, if Apple were to release a foldable in the years away from doing so, and it's likely that Apple might never release without going back to the iPhone 13, more good news, a smaller notch. Back to Carter reports that this is the year this one. Finally, Apple will be making the notch smaller by combining several components, which Face ID consists of, into one, bring up some room for them to move the components upwards. In accordance with this smaller notch, 120Hz has once again been confirmed by being a lack. Apple will be using exclusively Samsung panels to bring two LiRA displays to the iPhone, which may potentially enable an always-on-screen feature. It's not guaranteed to do so as the Apple Watch series display, but wasn't of the series find that always-on came into play. Battery life is a big factor here, think 120Hz something alone to be very excited about for the iPhone 13. Digit Times also reports that sensor shift stabilization, so that tech exclusive to the 12 Pro Max on the wide-angle lens, will be coming to the entire iPhone 13 lineup, likely to their wide-angle lenses. Manchukuo meanwhile says there won't be any major changes coming to the standard wide lens on the iPhone 13 Pro models. It's a very vague report, but essentially most of the changes will be on the ultra-wide sensor, which he previously reported is getting autofocus, a 6-piece element lens, and even larger aperture at 1.8 from the current 2400. iPhone 13 models will have a 1TB size option. I have yet to fill up even half of 512, can be good to have also, according to Barclays analyst. The iPhone 13 lineup will be adopting the new Wi-Fi 60 standard, which introduces the 6GHz band, so freeing up more bandwidth along with all the existing Wi-Fi 6 improvements. And an older report from the government says that Apple has begun work on its own in-house 5G modem, only see the light of day in 2025 due to licensing agreements with Qualcomm. Finally, almost every chip in the iPhone will be developed in-house by Apple, and Beach Equal reports that the iPhone 13 will resume its normal release schedule, so announcement September, potentially releases in September or October. Not be delayed like the iPhone 12 lineup was. According to Digit Times, Apple is finally getting into gallium nitride, long overdue. This technology will allow them to shrink their chargers substantially, potentially 35 gigs. 50% asked for the silicon powering the future. The iPhone, the Apple 816 in 2023 is predicted to be 4 nanometers. More recently, TSMC is actively testing 3nm. It's possible and will likely release later this year. Early next year Apple will be using 5nm+, though for the Apple 815 different source says that will be seeing 3nm for the Apple 816, which would be even more advanced beyond that. Want to processing. There's been a lot of buzz about an Apple car, some reporting it'll watch in 2024. Both Mark Gurman and Manchukuo are saying not likely, at least for half a decade, potentially 7 years, but there is some breakthrough technology that Apple is been working on, something to look forward to the next update from Apple. That is it, guys. Are you excited about the upcoming iPhone 13? Let me see your comment below. Please subscribe, like the video, comment. Thanks for watching. See you on my next video. One, peace out.